This is super ghetto.
Well, we're in the hood. We're in the hood,
That's right.
right? We like it in the hood.
And proud.
Yes, that's right. We're.
Oh, the other thing too is that this helps keep us in line here. So anyhow, why don't we go ahead and start?
Let's start.
All right. Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Welcome to the fourth now.
Yes, we're on 4 already.
Installment of the FtMtF Podcast.
That's right.
This is Jake Alfieri, artist extraordinaire.
Oh, why? Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And this is Nikki Jax. I am your
Queen DJ.
Hello.
And amazing producer of all things digital.
I just got lots of toys.
Of all things digital.
He's just saying that because I happen to have like all the cameras.
Yeah, but I'm not just saying it because that. You know how to play with the toys, right?
I think we all know how to play with the toys.
At this point, we better.
No, actually, I'm still learning these. So, if you're just look at that, we got people. Hey.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, so if you're just joining us, you know what? I totally screwed that up. If you're just joining us on Instagram, we're also broadcasting on Facebook Live, and this is our fourth podcast, or fourth airing of the FtMtF Podcast.
Try to say that fast.
Yeah. And it's where you can see it regularly on the FtMtF channel on
YouTube.
Right. So once this is all done, the final edited version will appear out there.
We need you guys to start following us there. And tell all your friends.
Yes, please tell all your friends.
We're trying to build up our clientele.
Clientele.
Fancy word.
You know what?
Kind of a fancy word.
You know, take a moment to just. I'll start. I'll just take a moment to why do we start this, and it's because we felt that we, as being members of the transgender community, from opposite viewpoints, I think it would be a very interesting discussion, and also because we are a little bit not as young.
No, exactly.
Right.
We're not. Yes, we're not as young.
But you and I, being of a similar age, gives us a particular viewpoint, and hopefully. We can either answer questions or provide some sort of edutainment.
Oh, that's a good word.
You know what? I stole it. So before we go on to the topic that we want to talk about today, back in the day when I was much younger and I still had good knees.
Well,
okay.
Back in the day, we were all young.
So back in the day, I used to busk. I used to tap dance.
Oh, wow.
I was a hoofer, right?
That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. And I used to busk in front of, by the West 4th Street train station, in front of the Blue Note, right? Figuring it's the right clientele, right?
Well, yeah.
And
you know you're going to see people are going to see you if you're in front of the Blue Note.
Right. And plus, it was a happening place. It was cool. Yeah, and I actually started doing it because I couldn't. It's tap dancing. You can't practice in your apartment in New York.
Well, no, yeah.
And at the time, I was living.
Be popular.
At the time, I was living on 5th Street between A and B.
Oh, okay.
That was back when that was really Alphabet City.
Yeah, hardly anybody calls it that now, unless they're our age.
Right, and remember what it alcoholics living on the corner or whatever.
It was very scary there.
Oh, it was a tough neighborhood.
You couldn't go there. It was not.
So I made this little wood platform that I'd put on my little bike, and I'd get on my bike and I'd ride down, and I would set up in front of the Blue Note, and so one day, the owner of the Cafe Wa, young Noam Dorman, was walking by with Rosalind McClure, the keyboard player.
Yeah.
And Rosalind is this larger than life personality, phenomenal player, pianist, singer, character, and she goes, Noam, you got to get him down to the Cafe Wa. Just have him sitting with the band. And so it was okay. So I go down. So I start performing there. I used to tap dance and I would sing Mac the Knife, and that's actually how I got a chip on my tooth.
Ouch.
Well, because I used to perform, and then part of the shtick, I would sing Mac the Knife, and I would do this like whole tap
Sing
dance
within
thing, and then the band was holding the microphone, and then I would turn and I would drop down to the ground. I'd come right back up. I'd spin, and at just the right moment, Noam would throw the microphone.
Oh.
And one day he throws it just a little too early, and just as I turn around, it goes
bam. Oh,
Yep.
that must have hurt.
Well, you know what you do? You keep going.
The show
right?
goes on.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I'm performing there. This is where we're getting to the term edutainment.
Right.
So there were these 3 boys, Keith, Keon, and Quasi.
Oh my God.
That
3 Ks. I don't want to go there.
Hello. Keith, Keon, yeah, they're all Ks. Quasi was Kwesi. And it so they were like this little rap trio, right? Rap, hip hop, and they used to do this thing called edutainment, right? Where they were actually very fun to listen to, because most of their stuff was about, there was one, I wish I could remember what the song was. It was like learning your history, like knowing your history, and
like what was that show? I'm not gonna think of it. Keep going.
Anyway, but so we ended up like I would perform with them too, right? We used to do this like whole intro thing,
Right.
And anyway, it was fun. It was like that was a fun, magical time back in the day.
Yeah,
back in the day when the village still had like real live music.
Right.
It was easy to find.
And you could see a lot more people performing, like in the subways and on the streets.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. You don't see as much. You still see them in the subways. They used to have a contest, in the city.
They still do.
They still have it
Every year.
where a band wins the right to go down into the subway.
Yeah.
In all the different locations and play, and they give you a banner.
Yeah, they
of
do.
Your name of your band.
That's still a thing. They
okay,
still
I
do
didn't
that.
realize that. That's great. I didn't realize they still did it.
Yeah, I remember seeing a news special on that like a couple of weeks ago.
Wow, that's fantastic. Good.
In case you don't know where we are in the Bronx.
Right.
We are in New York, and we are very much part of the New York culture.
Yes, without a doubt, and proud of it.
Yeah, 100%. That's why we like the Bronx.
Proud of it,
It's still got flavor.
Yeah, it's still got soul.
So anyway, so that's why. So I'm sorry why I digress.
Well, I like but I like that's an interesting term. I like.
It's a New York story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what? That fateful moment. It's funny, like how things like happen like that, right? Because
that's the universe.
Yeah, that's right. Because I was a tap dancer, right? But then like my knees blew up, and I had to stop dancing. No, so like I had to stop dancing. It was like a choice between walk or dance.
All right. Well,
and
I'm glad you picked walking. That was
right?
a good one to pick.
Right. It's convenient.
Yeah, I think so. It helps getting around and doing things, going to work,
go to the bathroom.
Yeah, things like that.
So, but because of my relationship that I had developed with Noam, I was, I blew up my knees. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my life? So I'm having a beer with him at 3:00 in the morning. At the Kettle of Fish, which is now the Fat Black Pussycat, but the Kettle of Fish on 3rd Street, and he says, I want to do 6 bands a night on Mondays. He's like, anybody can do sound? I was like, I need a job.
Yeah, right. You. What about me? Right.
I need a job. So he hired me, and it turned into like a 30-year career, which is what I'm doing today.
That's how it works.
And I in a weird way, life did that to me. It dropped a pearl in front of me.
Yeah, but if people would pay more attention,
yes,
they would see that it happens all the time.
Oh yes.
All right, and if you stay on that track where you're being aware of what's happening in your life, you make conscious decisions instead of unconscious decisions.
Right.
And clearly you were awake.
Well,
in your life.
I don't know how awake I was, but at the time I was desperate, but I was open to it.
You were. You just took the words out of my mouth.
And I didn't have fear of something I didn't know.
Which is another thing. How does the saying go? The road less traveled.
Right.
All right. And you in your life, these opportunities are presented all the time, every day, as a matter of fact.
Right. If
you're aware, and
right,
if you're paying attention to it.
Right. If you could see the potential, and
yes, if you're not afraid,
exactly,
to take a chance too.
I think so much of what happens to us are so many societally, so much of what affects our decision-making process.
It's fear.
It's fear. Yeah,
Absolutely.
We're governed by fear
It-
oftentimes.
Well, it's everywhere. All right,
Right.
and it's also, we won't get on this subject today, but organized religion is all based in fear.
Oh, sure. Especially the Catholics.
Oh, the Catholics are the worst.
It's all
I grew up Catholic.
Yeah, same
it's
here.
the worst.
Yeah, guilt and fear.
Yes, and that's how but you can see it in our society today. That's how people control. All right,
Right.
with fear.
Oh, sure.
All right, that's how the society gets to all these places about fear. It's because it's an easy way for it. Then the collective gets
The
involved.
mob,
Right.
the mob mentality,
Yes.
and then it becomes infectious.
Yes.
So, which
And we have a collective conscience.
I don't. You and I have not talked about this. I don't think so. That I'm concerned a little bit. So here we are. We're in the middle of the coronavirus, or we're coming out of it, the pandemic, right? Some of I have this like weird nagging thing about how fear has enabled that the fear has caused society to give up some of its freedoms. And I know this is a touchy subject right now because there is a death component.
Right. But from the way first of all, that fear is normal. All right. The fact that we have this situation going on and we're afraid to, maybe go out and do this and do that. That's because that's about survival. All right.
Right.
It's not about just being afraid. Fear mongering is one thing, but being conscious of the fact that there's a danger.
Right. But that's not what I'm talking about specifically. And 100%, right?
Right.
There's like a certain common sense.
Right.
Oh,
Well, it's either fight or
self-preservation.
flight.
Yeah, self-preservation.
Yeah.
Where like don't be stupid.
That is our ultimate thing, is to survive.
Right.
All right. That's what kicks in.
But we have through this crisis, I think in some ways given up some personal freedoms that we may not get back.
Yeah, I don't see it that way, but we'll have to see. Time will only
Sure.
tell. I don't see it that way.
I also caught a very funny George Carlin routine from years ago.
Oh well.
George Carlin, right? Genius.
Pharaoh, come on.
Right? So he does this whole thing about like how he about being healthy and being and it actually talks about we're losing every time we give away just a little bit of freedom, a little bit of freedom, a little bit of freedom.
Yeah, that's a whole bigger thing.
For the feeling of security. We're trading the sensation of security and reduction of risk by giving up our freedoms.
But that's illusion. That's another thing that you learn if you're staying present. Okay, that's an illusion. All right, having security.
Right.
It's a total illusion.
Sure.
This pandemic is a perfect example. All right. You could have all the money in the world. You could have all this, and it could all go. I mean, the market's going crazy.
Right.
Everybody's going out of business. Do you think everybody planned for that? No.
Right.
All right. This is how it went, and this is what we
are
up against.
But everybody's going, like people are going out of business, right? They're losing their businesses. Why? Because things have been mandatorily shut down. Right. And are there good health reasons for social distancing?
Absolutely.
Yes. Face mask coverings? Yes. Basic hygiene? Yes. Taking away our rights to having a job and conducting business?
Okay, but I don't see that as of it taking away our rights. It's just it's the consequence of this particular situation that we're in. I mean, you can go to work if you want. if your job is opened and you're not sick.
No, but you can't.
Well, right, you can't right now. Yes, I understand.
All of a sudden,
but it wasn't taken away from us. Just because somebody decided that they should take it away from us. There was a reason.
There was there was a specific, a clear and present danger.
Exactly. So
it's just it's interesting. I don't think we as a society have ever been placed in a position where you are an essential business or you're not an essential business.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. We could split hairs
you and I are
all
both.
day long about what's essential.
Yes.
All right.
And that's where you and I everybody out there.
Yes.
Please support us.
Yes.
Venmo.
Yeah, right.
You and I have all both discovered
Right.
that we are easily shut down.
All right. So that's what I'm saying about security. What security? You could have
Right.
we could have had
Right.
whatever.
We were rocking and rolling.
Right, right. Everything.
Life-
In fact, I was rolling real well.
Right.
All right. Things were happening. You know, I was getting a lot of work. It was backed up. I was booked. Everything was going great. All right. So, and what security? Same thing with you sign a lease with somebody. And my father used to always say this: the contract just gives you the right to go to court. The contract doesn't secure you.
Right.
All right. It's a piece of paper.
Right.
Okay. That's all it is.
It's
All
basically
right. It's just a piece of paper.
Possibly, yes.
It puts you in a better position to fight
Right.
over the situation.
Right.
Because if you have no contract, then you got nothing.
Exactly. You're
All right.
bupkis.
But does it make you secure? No. It doesn't mean you're going to win in court.
makes you
Means
a little
it
less
gives you-
risky.
Right, right. It gives you the opportunity to argue the
But
situation.
that, your father was 100%
Right.
correct and very astute.
It's an illusion. All these people, socking away, and I'm not putting this down. If you're in that situation where you're able to save money and it makes you feel better and it makes you feel secure, and that's great. But ultimately, it really doesn't save you.
You know what my grandmother used to say? I remember this. She goes, "What good is having money if you don't make it sing?"
If you don't, perfect. And what's the old saying? You can't take it with you.
That's
And
right.
the bottom line is you can't. All right. So enjoy your life now, in this moment, and with all of these things that are happening right now. And I've already said this to you, and we've proven it. We won't get into the conversation now, but it's happening. If you look at each situation and you say to yourself, "It's happening for me, not
Yes.
to me."
Yes.
All right. That makes it. That takes a whole
You know what, and that goes-
different view.
That goes about being open to what the universe is dropping in front of you.
Exactly, because the universe gives you what you need. It doesn't give you what you want.
Yes.
All right. It can give you what you want if you're on the right track. But really what it gives you is the opportunity to evolve spiritually. And that's a whole other topic that I could get into today. We're not getting into.
Well, we said today was going to be something slightly
Right,
different.
right.
Because we wanted to roll.
Right.
So, once again, if you're just joining us, welcome. Let's start again.
Right.
No, one of the topics that I wanted to talk about today, because this will be in posterity, and one day soon we will not be in COVID, so somebody will be watching this for some good reason, is clothing. And we have two reasons why. I just realized that I'm really complimenting.
You are, totally.
I'm getting
You know
lost,
what? You
and it's
can
like
almost
camouflage.
see. Yeah. But you have a little more color.
Yeah,
in yours.
I've got purples.
But you're totally matching it.
Yeah, I just
really goes
I
with
really
it.
didn't catch that until just now. I don't know why. Maybe I felt like I was disappearing. So, transgender and clothing, right? Transgenderism. I don't know if I just made a word
Yeah,
up.
I don't know. Maybe.
But, clothing is very interesting. I know there's a lot, and part of the reason I'm bringing it up is because I have somebody who I've been communicating with, and they're at the beginning of their journey, and we were talking about clothes, and I was saying, pick somebody that you really would like to emulate, somebody that you looked up to as an idol, and pay attention to what she's wearing and how she carries herself and what the clothing does to you, right? And it just got me thinking recently about how clothing can be not armor or a costume, but it can make an intrinsic statement unto itself.
Absolutely.
Right, and I wear clothes for two reasons.
And
I
I
know
like that you used armor. I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's also, which we won't get off on this, but it's many artists, make work with that idea in mind, as clothing being armor. A lot of artists, pursue that.
In which sense? Because when you say armor, right, that's a defense mechanism.
Well, in all senses, exactly.
Right.
In that sense, all right, in a protection sense,
Right.
all right, but it also can be, like you said, it makes a statement,
Right.
all right. It doesn't have to be that you're just protecting yourself.
So I know this amazing drag queen. She works at, and of course my brain just froze. It'll come to me in like half an hour.
Oh, I hate
Half an hour after we finish.
Yeah.
But she works at Vodka Soda Bottoms at VSBU. And it's very interesting because in her, she's a bartender there, and she sometimes bartends, as a boy, because she's a drag queen, right? When she is a boy, in boy mode, she's somewhat meek and diminutive.
Interesting.
But when she puts on that outfit, she
it changes you.
is fierce and big and outgoing and extroverted. And it's like really like an armor of some sort.
It is,
right?
but in a positive. In a positive way.
Right.
It gives her confidence. It gives her a sense of style, a sense of whatever. She's putting herself out there. That's great.
And I told her one time, I was like, you're very inspirational to me because I know you from both sides, and there's something about when you get all dressed up that it really changes your psyche.
Absolutely. I have a similar story where it's not on bartending but I experienced that whole idea where when actors say they get into character.
Right.
All right, and they, a lot of them, they stay in character the whole time they're doing this, movie or whatever they're doing, because it helps them stay focused. Well, one year, this has got to be in the early 80s, I was Pee Wee Herman for Halloween. And he was very popular then. All right, it wasn't, people don't know him that much now, but right.
I'm tired of you before.
So, and I still love Pee Wee Herman. I think he's amazing. All right, I'm sorry. All that stuff on the set was all made by artists. All right, everything that he had in the show. And when I got dressed, I had my hair slicked back. I had the little bow tie, the gray jacket, the shoes, all this stuff. I literally transformed into Pee Wee Herman.
Really?
I was I really didn't understand that. Yeah, I really didn't understand that concept when actors would say that, But when I experienced it myself, it was incredible. I put those clothes on and put on that whole facade, and I was Pee Wee Herman.
So I DJ a lot, right? Hope maybe one day again for people, as opposed to the Twitch universe.
Right.
But when I'm out in public, I feel almost like I have to. And it's not like I don't like it. I love getting dressed up.
Right.
But I feel like I have to get dressed up a little bit. Like I have to have something new and a little bit flashy, something that sets me apart.
Absolutely.
And it's sort of like a costume.
But I think it's absolutely like a costume. Not in the sense of you're putting on a mask and you're somebody else or whatever. It's you.
Well, it makes a statement, right?
Yeah.
So
but it sets you apart, like you're saying. You're doing it so it sets you apart.
In the wintertime, right?
It's cold.
Lots of layers, so there's not much. We are not presenting real well. But in the summertime, out come the summer dresses. Or like the crop tops and the chokers and stuff that's a lot more fun, and I think it's interesting for everybody, and even myself, because then I feel like it gives me a different sense of energy.
Well, I think anybody can understand that, even people that are not trans, but when I think we feel it a little bit deeper,
we understand,
right? Because for a long time, and especially for Nikki and myself, we lived a good part of our lives, as somebody else.
Right.
All right. And, as for me, not even realizing. So I think that whole topic of clothing and how you present yourself is very important to anyone. But I think we have a little deeper understanding of the importance of it.
Yeah. So before, so here's my feeling about boys' clothes, right? I don't like wearing them. To me, they feel heavy and clunky and restrictive.
And me, as the girls' clothes, I mean, I hated everything about it.
Really?
The heels,
Listen,
lace
I
and
get the heels.
stockings and the makeup and the whole thing. You know, it was. I did it because at the time
Right,
I
that
didn't
was
know
your gender
anything
role.
else. Yeah, and my mother happened to be a very fashionable person, you know, and makeup and everything.
Oh,
even
more
when I
stress.
stopped wearing makeup, she would just put a little lipstick. You don't need anything else. Just come on, just a little lipstick. And I was like, I'm not. But every time she would see me, just a little color, just a little lipstick. I don't want to wear a little lipstick. All right?
So, was this? Did you not like wearing dresses? And I'm gonna talk about dresses just for a minute.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, we talk about like your two gender.
Oh yeah.
You know, your two polar genders, or gender polarities, right? You have women wear dresses, right? In the summertime.
Certain times, women, that was all they were allowed to wear.
Sure. Yeah.
On the job, you know, you know, that was like a law almost.
Well, there's right.
Well,
TWA. Think.
Well, everything.
Sure.
You know, in the
Well, that's
office,
all
in the you know,
right.
the
Women did not wear pants.
women didn't wear pants.
Right.
All right, it just wasn't
Pants were something iconic for the male.
for them. Yeah.
Right.
You weren't feminine if you wore pants.
Right. But there's also, but then there came that time when it was super sexy, right? And that's like my idol. Like, you know, I was talking about idols before. Like Katharine Hepburn is.
Yeah.
I love Kat, and that's a woman, right?
Oh
There's
yeah,
no
she's
doubt.
amazing.
But
And her strength is so obvious.
yes, yeah, and that's the topic for a different day. But just in talking about dress, like there's a physical. There's two elements to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why I like the clothing. There's the physical, like it's just physically comfortable. Like, you know, we're here. We're about to head in the summertime, and it's light and it's airy, and I'm not weighed down by these clothes, and I don't feel that like you know, around the waist.
This is your true self, and that's why you feel comfortable in the garments.
Well, then there's also that emotional context, right, where maybe there is still like that in a very small sense, relief at wearing the outfit. I think I feel different emotionally because I feel looser. I feel freer.
Of course,
But not
changes your attitude.
Right.
It changes, you know, the way you move.
Right. So like when I go to work, because I work in an event production company, I'm in a warehouse, so I've got, you know, my dirty gray sneaks, and I've got you know, I wear my thicker leggings just because.
Right. That's part of the job.
Yeah, I would ruin. I was moving around stage decks all day today. I didn't break one nail. Miracle nail. You can buy it for $1 at Dollar Tree.
That's a whole nother art in itself. Working with fingernails, I couldn't do that either.
You know the trick. All right. I could talk ad infinitum.
Yeah, right.
But to just stay on point on the clothing, but you know, so even just wearing that, all the clothes are, you know, it's like leggings, and I had on, it was like, I forget who made it, but it was like by H&M. It was a cute little top. Right. But being able to get home and go,
right, and get out, into the clothes that you're more comfortable in.
I gained energy.
Right. Of course, I mean, why do you think fashion is such a big deal?
I think fashion is a big deal.
It is because of exactly what we're talking about.
With validity.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's wrong to make, you know, women feel like they have to be these skinny sticks to do all this stuff. I don't mean that, but fashion, you know, it can make you, like you said, feel lighter.
Right.
Feel more yourself. You put on. You're talking about the drag queen, that she becomes this whole,
right.
you know,
gives
other
her power.
person. All right, me saying that I turned into Pee Wee Herman, that was about clothing.
Right.
All right, that wasn't about anything else.
It was all of a sudden you felt this image.
I felt like that I was him.
Right.
And I think, and maybe because I grew up in a house where my mother was a fashion queen.
Right.
All right, and she was very well put together, and it was very important to her.
Let me extend a thank you to Mom.
Yes.
Because I have some very nice scars.
Yes,
now.
yes. I've been giving
Thank
Nikki
you.
some of her scars.
They still smell like you.
Yeah, they do. She has that Chanel number 5. It's so good.
Never goes away.
But,
by the way, Chanel, if you're listening, I
yeah,
could really use some Gabrielle. Just saying.
You can ship it too.
Ship it here.
But I think, and I, like I said, I think that as trans people, we have a little bit, of a deeper understanding of the difference. I mean, I remember being a child, a baby, and hating that lacy, girly stuff.
Really?
Oh, I hated it. I have memories.
Because it itched?
Because it itched, because I didn't like the way it looked. No, it also didn't like the way it looked. It didn't feel right. Like you were saying about men's clothes on you makes you feel heavy, and it didn't. Even as a young child, I felt that it was choking me.
Really?
Yeah. I never ever liked it. And dresses, forget it. I mean, and it wasn't that I couldn't pull it off.
Of course. I
mean, if you saw me in a dress now, it would be hysterical. But back 35 years ago, I could do it.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I didn't love it, but I could do it.
Right.
It wasn't my. And another Halloween, when I was running the club at this time, I got all dressed up like a girl. I had this hot short skirt, and, some little bustier thing, high heels. I think I was even wearing stockings, which is like, oh my God.
What was I
thinking?
thinking?
And everyone kept asking me, well, what are you for Halloween? And I was like, can't you tell? I'm a girl. My only one friend, Miss Chicky, I know you're never going to watch this, but she was the only one. I knew right away. What are you for Halloween? I'm a girl. Can't you tell? And
that is hysterical. Okay. Short aside. It's not about me. It's about my daughter. So we were like crazy Halloween. We lived in Florida, and in like the very family section of Orlando, in Winter Park. And
Orlando, that's where all the families go for.
Well, not Orlando, yeah,
because
that's
Disneyland is there.
Right, but we're on like the actual where the people actually live.
Oh, right. You mean it's not Candyland or Cinderella's?
Yeah. So, but we took Halloween very seriously. We were always determined to fill up those bags, multiple bags, enough to last to the next Halloween.
Right.
There was a point. There was like a real. So we would start early. We hit every house. Well, anyway. So and my daughter loved it too. She loved it.
Every kid loves it. Who doesn't love getting candy?
So one year we were trying, and she must have been like 9, I think. We were I can't remember what outfit we were trying for, but it was like a little pantsuit, a little, and it just wasn't coming out right. She goes, "That's it." So she like fixed it up, got like these like little glasses and like this little briefcase. I was like, "What are you going?" She goes, "Going as a lawyer."
Oh, very good. Great imagination too for a little kid.
And it went over amazing.
Oh, well, come on! And she thought of it herself.
Yeah, and she was, and you know what? She improvised. She was a great way of improvising.
Thing about Halloween. I mean, everybody going out to buy these fancy costumes that parents could go out and buy and all this stuff, whatever the popular thing is. When we were growing up, I don't know if it was like that. Dude, we went in and got Daddy's jacket or Mommy's bola or whatever it was. It wasn't that you went to the store and bought a costume.
No, my mother. Okay, we never bought a costume. Like, they didn't exist. All of a sudden now, it's like all these stores everywhere, right? I mean, good luck to your business. But I'm just saying.
We're not denying. We're not begrudging you selling costumes.
When I was younger, my mother, who was very artsy craftsy, we got a garbage can. She cut out the bottom. And she made like the Sesame Street.
Sesame Street, the Oscar.
Oscar. She made so we go in the garbage
guy
can.
That came out of the garbage can.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's like
great.
the walk over the garbage can.
But you see, and that's what we were talking briefly last time about the Halloween parade. I mean, you know,
there are some of them that are crazy
people
clever.
are unbelievable what they come up with. I mean, that's what I love about the parade. You know, is seeing the people's ideas of costumes.
I love the parade, right? I love
you just don't want to mix the.
I love the parade, but to like mash that up with the delayed Pride parade with those people.
After you put it that way, I agreed with you.
And it's not I think it's not the people that are really into the parade, right? To the Halloween parade. The Halloween parade, right? The people who like go way out and get their do these crazy outfits.
Costumes,
right?
And like unbelievable. I've never seen unbelievable things.
But then that's maybe what 30% of the crowd of the Halloween parade.
Right.
The other 70% is amateur hour.
Right. Well, that's like New Year's Eve too.
Exactly, same thing. Or St. Patty's Day.
Oh, that's a whole nother. That's to me is ridiculous.
Yeah, there you go. It's like
that's ridiculous.
But
because that's been always everybody just get as screwed up,
right,
drunk,
right,
as you can,
right.
Which that's no fun, in my opinion.
No, well, no. Again, amateur hour.
Right.
Right.
But clothing and all
although
aspects.
If you want to book me for St. Patty's Day, I'm your DJ. So,
can I leave you for 1 second and you keep talking?
You do you, baby.
Baby, I gotta pee.
So yes, we are broadcasting live. I understand. So let me just take a moment and talk about what's going on with some of the different Pride celebrations, right? Please, I talked last week briefly, maybe you didn't catch it, but go to, especially if you are in New York City and you are LGBT POC, go look at the Moby website, MOBINYC.com. And there's on June 4th, there's going to be an amazing broadcast, and we all need your love and support. I'm assisting with the broadcast. Thank you.
I'm back.
Okay. Also, the LGBT Center is having a virtual garden party, and that's going to be on the, hold on, I got to do the math in my head, on the 22nd, June 22. So please go to the LGBT Center's website and find out and make your reservations and do it. Please support the LGBT Center. They do such important work and they're such an important member of the community.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. So, oh my God, we were talking. Somehow we started talking about Halloween again and amateur hour and drinking, but we were talking about clothing. So you know what? Maybe right now would be a good time to talk about your idea.
My idea, yeah.
Right, and we're gonna. So, I'll intro, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I'll just turn it over to you, ladies and gentlemen. Presenting Jake Alfieri.
Oh yes, presenting me. All right, this is a T-shirt that we have available for you guys. All right, and it's a concept that came up with a while ago, and it's also kind of a thing with me, and it's almost like I want to start a movement. All right, I want to change the perception of the word freak. All right, because I've always taken that word as a compliment. All right, I wear my freak.
Nobody remembers
all over it. Never right. And let your freak flag fly.
That's the real flag.
Whatever it is, and I don't mean your freak could be anything. It could be that you like red nail polish. It could be that you wear hats. I mean, I'm not saying it's a specific thing. Like something about your face. It can be anything. Let your freak flag fly. I mean, here we are. Part of also doing this presentation is to show people that this is what you need to do. All right, you need to be your true self, no matter what that is. Don't please your mother, your father, society, anybody. All right, because that is all. Once you get there, you can go anywhere.
Sure. Otherwise, you'll be dead before they put you on the ground.
Right. So, freakness is uniqueness. All right, this is it. I want to start a movement, people. All right, and if you look up the definition of the word freak, it explains how it means unique. All right, so that's where we're going with this. All right.
So we have these T-shirts available for you, right? Currently, they are in gender neutral,
Yes.
cotton
Yes.
medium. We can,
White and gray. That's what we have.
and these are made by Jake Alfieri Industries.
Yes, that's right.
Two
Right
floors,
here in the Bronx.
2 floors down.
Right here.
Homegrown. So please, we decided that it was going to be. Did we say like 25? Like,
right, and then
ship
that
it regular
covers
ground?
everything.
Yeah, $25, ground shipping. Anywhere in the continental U.S.
Yeah, in yes, in the United States.
So just if you want one, email us. We're going to also be coming out, and you know what
we're coming up with. Yeah, we're going to come up
we
with.
have some other designs,
right? Some other designs,
t-shirt
some other
designs.
ideas that we're going to do. We can really. I mean, will be more difficult to do, but this ran through my mind once, and maybe I'll just say it, and we'll see if anybody's interested. But you could send us a garment, and we could put it on your garment.
Amazing.
Right? So we're eventually going to have all different colors and all different, more sizes, but absolutely gender free. You can go whatever.
Yeah, we're going to take one T-shirt, and then if you want the gay model, we'll send it with scissors. And
right. But I'll get in more to the story of where it came from. Or should I just what? Go ahead.
I think you can tell the story with and just omit the name because it's
Right.
a cool story, and it speaks to how organic and
Yes.
real the phrase is.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
not
where-
something
where
that
it
like you
came
shook
from.
dice. It's
No. And it's close to 10 years now. It's got to be. It might even be longer than that. My niece, who again I'm not going to say her name. All right, she's a little girl learning how to crawl, learning how to walk. Right, she learns how to walk. What are you 3, 4, whatever? You're earlier than that. Whatever.
2, 3. I think.
All right, so now she can walk, and she's about 6 years old, but she won't get off her floor. She won't get off her knees and her hands. All right, she's always crawling around. My sister was going nuts. She was ripping all the knees of her clothes. All right, and we couldn't get her off all fours, and she was growling and
She's doing her
roaring.
thing. She's a
and
kid. She's
she was
exploring
a kid.
the world
Right,
in her
exactly.
own way.
With no fear, because kids have no fear. We
Right.
learn that later.
Right.
That who's looking at me, who's going to say something about me. This is what's the beauty about being a child.
Right.
All right, is that she didn't care if people were making fun of her.
Yeah, you want the truth?
All right,
Ask a kid.
right, ask a kid. Exactly. So there she is, growling and roaring and barking. So I say to her, "You're a freak, all right?" But I mean it in the most positive way. Like, look how unique you are.
Right.
All right, you're not intimidated by growling or barking or being on all fours. So she loves it. Me calling her that. But as she gets older, she finds out that freak is not, the word doesn't always
Right,
mean
that-
something positive.
Right. There's a negative
Right.
baggage that goes along with the word.
So I say it to her again, and she, starts whining, "Oh, I don't want to be a freak." And I say, "Why not? Freakness is uniqueness." And that's where it came. And then we just kept on going with it, me and my nieces and nephews, in the family. But I really, really, for me, I want to see everybody's freak flag fly.
I think that there's a different truth to the phrase now.
Yes. And also, just so I don't forget, is that I think we need to, especially at this time, we need to celebrate our differences while we embrace what makes
Right.
us the same.
Yeah.
All right. And again, we're trying to do that with this whole podcast. It's this, we're all people. We're all here. Why can't we accept
Right.
who everyone is without gender, without, girls wear pink and boys wear blue, and men can't wear makeup but women have to.
Right.
All right, like all of these type of labels and all this,
Well, they're gender constructs.
right, which
and not just gender constructs, like
it's
any construct.
anything, be yourself and be proud of it no matter what it is. And I think at this moment we really need to do that, to look at each other and say, yes, I think you're different, all right, and I love your
Hallelujah.
differences.
That's right.
Yes, praise
Thank God you're different.
Right.
It'd
Okay.
be really
But
boring.
then,
otherwise,
at the same time, embracing that we're all the same. Right.
and recognizing those areas where we have commonality.
Exactly.
Like, so Jake and I, we have all these shared similar experiences and mostly the same viewpoints, but we also we have little bits of disagreement, but we're very respectful about it, and we can have a conversation, and we can say,
and we should learn from each other.
and we learn
Right.
from each other all the time.
And but everybody should be you know what I mean? We should celebrate that our differences of each other. All right? But really, at the end of the day, we are one.
Right.
All right? With including our differences. Not that we're all the same, so don't get me wrong. I don't want to be a sheep in the crowd. All right? I never was. I know you're not. I don't think anyone should. All right? You should be who you are, whether it's loud, soft, big, little, dresses, not dresses, makeup, no makeup. You know, I want to see that.
Crawling on your hands and knees.
Needs barking.
Barking, yes.
So I
Do
you know,
it.
for me, it's been
You
kind
do
of
you,
a-
honey.
Right. It's for me. It's like I want to see it happen. I want to see everybody do it.
Great. So I support you in this.
I know you.
And
do.
for those of you out there, please, please reach out. We'll be more than happy. You can find links to us. Get in touch with either of us down
Whatever.
below.
We're ready.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for listening to my stories.
Yeah,
and
there you
thank
go. No, it's a great little story. So I'm proud of it. So
Let your freak flag fly.
yes, which brings me to like a topic that like went in my head and went out of my head. Now it's back in my head.
Right.
No, and
At least
it's
it came back.
They don't always.
They don't always come back.
They,
Believe me, I know that.
like okay, so trans, right? You've got cis or gender stereotypes. Then you have transgender, kind of buying into the gender role a little bit,
Yeah.
right? And then you have queer culture. And you and I have talked
Yeah.
that, like, because we're older, it's okay. This is gonna sound super old, but sometimes we have a problem understanding exactly what is queer culture, and I think that clothing has a lot to do with it. And I think that there is a movement, that part of the movement that fuels queer culture is part language choice,
Right.
and behavior,
Fashion,
but also
absolutely.
the fashion.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main things.
Now, we have friends like, and you have these two beautiful friends, the button guy,
Yeah. Oh, yes. Bo and
Bo.
Solio.
Beautiful people,
Oh.
and who they are, right? They are.
No, there's
they're
no changing. Yeah,
living
they
their-
are who they are.
Right. And
Hopefully you'll meet them.
yeah, well, we'll get them on if you're listening. You could probably look at them immediately and identify that they have embraced queer culture, and through the clothing,
Right.
because the clothing, there's a certain brashness about that clothing.
Right. Well, I mean, for me, I love seeing all of it. You know, I love seeing people.
Would you wear it for yourself?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
No.
Interesting.
Maybe if I was dressing up for something, a costume or whatever, but
Right.
maybe I would. But it's not. I'm the typical New Yorker. This is
Black. Yeah.
Okay. And plus, I'm very simple in that way. Another thing I hated about women's clothing is there's just all these things that have to go with it. You have to have the right bag and the belt and the shoes
Well,
and
yes.
the whole thing. Which, great. Have at it,
That's
ladies.
like when you're dialed in.
I love it for you.
It's an armor and a weapon.
Yeah.
At
I
the
love
same
it for
time.
you. But for me, it was never. I often say to people, I couldn't be a fashion king and a great artist. So it was one or the other. So I chose being a great artist. But for me, it's not. I'm very simple. I want to be. My whole thing about clothing and what women's clothing are not is comfort. and men's clothing are built
Oh,
for comfort.
I
right, and
hesitate.
women. All right.
I
Well,
would
you're gonna
argue
beg
that.
to differ with me. All right.
I-
But men's clothes are more comfortable. They
Well,
have
you
deeper
know,
pockets.
This is okay. Yeah, this is true.
All right. They have inside pockets so you can carry things in your jacket.
The
All right.
Well, this is why we all have bags, right? With like everything in the world in them.
Yeah, I hated that too.
Oh, I love my bag.
All women love it.
The other day I was doing something.
I would do anything to get away
and
from it.
I ended up by pulling like I don't know what it was, but like in quick succession I pulled out like this screwdriver, like hair bands. Oh, I had like in the bottom of my bag were like extra like
No,
little lunchy
those things are just they're pocketbooks and women's bags are like black holes. All right, you put stuff in there and it goes someplace. All right, don't tell me that it doesn't happen. Don't tell me, ladies, that it never happened to you because I don't believe you. All right, you put stuff in there and it disappears.
Yeah, for a while.
You might, yes,
You
might
know what?
get it back
It's not a
again.
black hole. It's time travel.
Okay, well,
Because
whatever it is.
Time travel. You put it in now, and it time travels to the future where you find it again.
All right, well.
I don't know how many of you out there do this, but like regular, about once a month, I just okay, that's it.
But
I just
as far
upside
as,
down.
you know, you and I couldn't be more. I
Sort it
mean,
out.
I wouldn't go back to wearing women's clothes if my life depended on it.
Well, I will tell you, you look molded and sculpted into your day wear.
Okay, well, I'm very.
And I love this shirt. You wore this shirt the first party.
I did. You're right.
You wore this
You're
shirt.
right. I wore.
And you just got it rolled
Yeah,
up.
yeah,
You are
it's just
you are super Jersey.
and super simple. I really don't. You know, besides the lipstick, Viv always wanted to put just a little color. Just a little color. She's always trying to put a scarf around me. Just some earrings. I don't want it. But, ladies, I love you ladies in it. Short skirts, high heels, stockings, the whole thing. Give it to me. But I don't want to wear it. Never. Again.
Do you feel okay? And I want to talk about queer clothing again real quick because we started talking about it and I almost lost it.
Go ahead, talk about it.
No. I just want to say, but before I lose this, so something interesting that I've learned along the way, right, is women's clothes are designed to show your body, right? It's to be put on display, and you have to. And I think maybe that's why women are always stressing, more so than men, about their weight and their shape and the body figure and their physique, because
it's all in there.
it's so dialed into the fabric of fashion that you need to look a certain way
In those gender roles.
and you need to be revealed, right? So,
And that's all about being an
because I know
object.
I walk down the street, I'm not gonna lie, like I was like, I will get dressed and go, okay, no, not enough ass. Let me let me get a shorter jacket.
It also goes to, which was a whole nother conversation about being an object. All right, it's in reference to women. All right, that the clothes are designed not for your comfort. All right.
Oh, they're designed for other women.
Or men.
Or men. Yeah, men are secondary.
I agree with that. That's
Man,
a line
honestly,
in a Van Morrison. The ladies get dressed up for each other.
100%.
Which is, yes, I agree. Which is another thing I wasn't into either.
Okay, boys, men out there, if you're interested in women, right? Beautiful. Just know they couldn't care less. Like, they know you're gonna like what they're wearing.
Especially if they're doing the certain things that they know.
Yeah, it's down on the list. Like, we really don't worry. Like, I know I don't really worry about it. Like,
No. But that also has to do with age
and possibly confidence. Like, innate
it's
confidence.
totally, because we're way past that.
Yes.
Trying to prove something. That's another beautiful thing about being older, which I don't know why more people don't embrace.
Oh my God!
Is you get so comfortable with life in general, or you get more comfortable with it.
Sure.
And you're not worried about hopefully you're not worried about what people think of you, or how you're looking, or whether you're too fat or too skinny or whatever.
There's this great Southern comedian, and now, of course, again, I can't remember who it is, but he does this funny shtick about, he goes, I really admire my old man. This is who I want to be. This one day, he's sitting there, he's at the grill, and he's flipping stuff over, and my father and my mother, they've been married for years and years and years. She comes up, and she's like, da, 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 da. And without even looking at her or turning to me, my father says, that's why nobody likes you. He goes, I want to be just like that. You've arrived.
Yeah, because you just, you get to that point where you realize that all of these labels and how you're supposed to act and dress and whether you're supposed to be gay or straight or a female or male, it's all, to me, it's all restriction. All right, it's to me, we should all be able to wear and do whatever we want, however we want.
Yeah, so long. Yes, 100%.
Without ridicule.
Sure, because it makes sense for us.
Yeah, and everybody should get on that train. Like if you're wearing, it's not that men are not interested in the way they look. That's
no, of course.
True.
I know.
It's been unfortunate too that they haven't been able to over the decades either really express themselves through clothing as much more now.
Well, okay, so men's expression in clothing is very stylized, super stylized, and there's like not, there's a finite boundary of what you can wear and still be. Well, okay, so this is interesting, right? There's a finite boundary of what you can wear and what can be styled that would look good as your traditional male gender role, right? Suit and jacket, or maybe the nice
tie,
sweater, or and there are people who are out there. So this is what's interesting, right? So there are these fashion designers that are out there, and they're designing these clothes, and they're taking a little bit of risk. And almost the moment they take this risk, it turns into queer clothing.
Yeah, see, I have to
put a skirt. You get like unless
I have
you're
to really
Scottish.
get into more. When you're using that term, I have to research that more about what you mean exactly when you're talking about. Like, give me an example.
So let's say
the culture I understand, but the clothing.
I think we can almost immediately read some. Okay, so right, this would be so it's like gay or queer, right? So let's say it's a man who's presenting as male, right? But wearing and you should pull this image in your mind because you'll know the moment.
Right.
Wearing a black skirt with like these extra 4-inch heel boots and a black mesh top and maybe like some sort of peculiar cap, right? So that whole ensemble, black mesh see-through top, skin-tight top, and a skirt and on a presenting
with a beard, on a man with a beard.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So that's
okay. So that's
queer.
Okay, I got
that I think falls under queer culture, or something that's like non-gender, right? But like a jacket with like a big square cut, but it's like a men's cut, but with like pink fur and rhinestones, which is I saw something like that at the Fluid project one time.
All right, so it's kind of a hybrid of all things.
Yeah, you take two traditional gender norms, throw them together, mix them up, and then add some sparkle to it.
Some fairy dust.
It's some fairy dust and rainbow flag remnants stitched in, and then now you've got queer outfits. But I would. So these are all like super interesting. But like I would never wear them.
Right. It's sort of over the top. But that's how people want to express themselves. That's fantastic. They should do it.
Yes.
So what I'm opposed to
Freakness
is uniqueness. There you go. What I'm opposed to is the labels.
Right.
And we've talked about this before. But we want everybody to have a label that says Freakness is uniqueness, though. I mean, if you're gonna give yourself a label, let's give yourself a cool one.
That's right.
All right?
We'll have it on buttons and
Right.
everything, and it's copyright. Don't
Right.
steal it.
Don't. Or we'll come chasing after you.
Listen, we're from the Bronx.
Yeah, well, don't forget that. And we're New Yorkers.
That's right.
Overall, so.
We know some. We know some
Yeah,
people.
yeah, we know.
So
Thumper and Red Hook.
nobody will find him in the river.
Yeah, right. That's on radio days. Just Thumper and Red Hook.
And the goannas. In the bottom of the goannas, it'll disappear forever. So,
That's us.
well, you know what? I got to turn up because
Yeah, well, that's us.
My live stream ended anyway.
Yeah, right.
Bye, Instagram people. Thank you for joining. I'll thank you later. Facebook people.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Please head over to we'll post this to our new
Yes.
final channel that we thought about on YouTube for the podcast, which is the FtMtF
Channel.
at YouTube. You can also email us.
Yeah,
blah,
we'll,
blah, blah,
we'll
at
send
Gmail.
it to the right place.
Or either of us individually. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any any topics that you want to talk about in the future, please send them to us.
Because, we talk too much. So we want you to talk a little bit.
Every time we do this, like we're done, we click stop, we talk for like another 2 hours. I'm actually specifically trying to ask you not to come up too early because we'll start talking too soon.
I know. And
we'll be like,
you're right
shit.
about that, though.
we have to have like a topic discussion,
Yes,
but then
yes,
we have to say, okay,
because then we start talking.
exactly. But thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And that's it.